Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Chrisley knows best. Chrisley talks naughty Nanny Faye. Chrisley and his sister Savannah chatted about the holiday season, and it sounded sad before Chrisley knows best Nanny Faye entered the conversation. Actually, she was there, but recollections by Chase of her getting up to mischief lightened the whole discussion. Chrisley and Nanny Faye were always up to mischief. Often, Todd's mom stole the show on Chrisley Knows Best. Once, the old lady tried to sabotage Todd's go-kart so she could win a competition. Another time, she took up fortune-telling and planned to make money off it. Viewers saw her enjoying herself immensely at the Mardi Gras. Nothing could keep the old lady down, and fans adored her. However, a lot of people stopped laughing once her son went to prison for tax and fraud-related offenses. Chrisley usually accompanied his grandmother when she got up to nonsense. If she got caught, she could always blame him for the shenanigans. But one thing that she genuinely seemed to love was gambling. In May of 2021, fans saw her wearing a big derby hat and smoking a cigar when she placed a bet on a horse. Todd always pretended to be angry with her when she did that sort of thing. Nanny Faye brightens up a sad podcast. On January 9, Savannah Chrisley got together with her brother on her Unlocked podcast. Initially, it seemed very sad. Chase seemed very down because his mom and dad sit in prison, so holidays bring no cheer for him. Savannah sounded a bit forced as she tried to get him out of morose mode, but then he started relating memories of Nanny Faye, and who can be miserable when she's being naughty. People reported that near the end of the podcast, a fan texted in to ask Chrisley about his best memories of Nanny Faye. In his reply, he mentioned gambling with his grandmother in Palm Springs. Chrisley did well, so he gave her a hot lucky chip. When they got back to Nashville, she was keen on more gambling, so Nanny Faye wanted to go to Indiana. Along the way, she ended up owing Chase a pile of cash. Firstly, she claimed they needed to buy gas, and it would cost $1,000. Then, when she was sitting with a big pile of chips, she said she wanted to borrow more. When he objected to her asking for more, she said, "Well, it don't hurt." Chrisley sat back on the plush sectional sofa in his Nashville apartment, a mischievous grin tugging at his lips. He held his phone up, recording a quick Instagram story for his followers. "All right, y'all," he began, his southern drawl dripping with charisma. "Y'all keep asking for more tea about my favorite troublemaker Nanny Faye. Well, buckle up, 'cause I got a story for you that'll have you crying laughing." He stopped the recording and chuckled to himself, already imagining the flood of comments he'd get. It wasn't every day that his grandmother, Nanny Faye, managed to outdo herself in the naughty department, but this week, she had reached legendary status. It all started on Monday morning when Chase got a frantic call from Todd Chrisley. "Chase, I swear to you," Todd's voice thundered through the phone, "if I have to deal with one more of your grandmother's harebrained schemes, I'm going to lose what little sanity I have left. Do you know what she's done now?" Chase had to stifle a laugh. "No, but I bet you're gonna tell me." "Oh, I will." Nanny Faye decided to borrow, and I use that term lightly, a golf cart from the country club without asking. She claimed it was just a little joyride, but security cameras caught her racing some other member down the ninth fairway like it was Talladega. Chase's laughter erupted. "No way." "Oh, yes way," Todd snapped. "And that's not even the worst of it. She managed to run over a sand trap, spill someone's mimosa, and somehow convince the poor groundskeeper that it was all his fault." "Classic Nanny Faye," Chase said, shaking his head. By the time Chase hung up, he knew he had to see the aftermath for himself. He drove to the Chrisley mansion, where he found Nanny Faye sitting on the back patio, her feet propped up, a fresh glass of sweet tea in hand. She looked as innocent as a lamb, but the glint in her eyes told Chase that she was enjoying every second of the chaos she'd caused. "Hey, Nanny," Chase greeted, sitting down beside her. "Hey there, sugar," she said sweetly. "What brings you by?" "Oh, you know, just wanted to check in on my favorite outlaw," he teased. Nanny Faye feigned offense, placing a hand over her heart. "Outlaw? Me? Boy, you better watch that tongue before I wash it out with soap." "Come on, Nanny. You can tell me you didn't enjoy that little golf cart stunt." A sly smile crept across her face. "Well, it was exhilarating," she admitted. "I hadn't felt a rush like that since I went skydiving back in '92. "Skydiving?" Chase's jaw dropped. "I didn't know you went skydiving. There's a lot you don't know about me." "Boy," Nanny Faye said with a wink. The conversation spiraled into a series of wild tales from her younger years, each one more outrageous than the last. Chase was thoroughly entertained, but he knew he had to keep his grandmother's antics in check, or at least, he had to try. Later that evening, the family gathered for dinner, and as expected, Al was still fuming about the golf cart incident. "Mother," he began, his tone sharp, "do you have any idea how embarrassing it was to get a call from the club manager about your little stunt?" Nanny Faye waved him off. "Oh, calm down. Calm down. Life's too short to worry about what a bunch of stuffy club members think." "You could have been banned," Todd exclaimed. "So what? There's plenty of other clubs," she said with a shrug. "Besides, I had a great time. You should try it sometime, Todd. Might loosen you up a bit." Chase snorted into his drink, earning a glare from his father. "Don't encourage her," Todd warned. "But Dad," Savannah chimed in, "you have to admit, it's pretty iconic. I mean, how many grandmas do you know who can outrace a golf pro?" "Exactly," Nanny Faye said triumphantly, raising her glass. "Here's to living life to the fullest." The rest of the night was filled with laughter, and even Todd couldn't stay mad for long. Nanny Faye had a way of turning any situation into a reason to celebrate, and her infectious spirit was impossible to resist. The following morning, Chase decided to record a podcast episode dedicated entirely to his grandmother. "All right, guys," he said into the mic. "Today's episode is all about the legend herself, Nanny Faye. Y'all know she's a firecracker. But let me tell you, this woman has stories that'll make your jaw drop. From racing golf carts to sneaking into concerts back in the day, she's done it all. And honestly, I aspired to be half as bold as she is when I hit her age." The podcast episode quickly went viral, and fans flooded Chase's social media with messages praising Nanny Faye. "Your grandma is the GOAT," one fan wrote. "Can Nanny Faye adopt me?" another asked. Chase shared the messages with her, and she was delighted. "Well, isn't that sweet?" she said. "Maybe I should start my own podcast. I could call it Faye's Wild Adventures." "You'd probably break the internet," Chase said with a laugh. As the week went on, Chase couldn't stop thinking about how much joy Nanny Faye brought to everyone around her. Sure, she was a handful, but her zest for life was something to be admired. One evening, as they sat together on the porch, Chase turned to her and said, "Nanny, you know you're kind of a big deal, right?" "Me?" "Oh, hush," she said, blushing slightly. "I'm serious," he insisted. "People love you. You make life fun, and that's something special." She smiled, her eyes twinkling. "Well, sugar, if I can bring a little joy to this world, then I reckon I'm doing all right." Chase nodded. "More than all right, Nanny. You're the heart of this family." And as they sat there, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Chase realized just how lucky he was to have her. Life with Nanny Faye was never dull, and for that, he was endlessly grateful.